Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Alex Warrior 99. Thanks for the suggestion, Alex. You asked, what is the difference between perfume and cologne? At first glance, perfume and cologne just seem like two different words for stuff you spray on yourself before a date. But there's actually more to it than fancy bottles and confusing commercials of people staring at the ocean while whispering French words. Let's sniff out the truth right here on Explaining Everything. Here's the thing. Most people, when they hear perfume, they think of women's fragrances. And when they hear cologne, they think of men's fragrances. Simple, right? Wrong. That's a marketing trick. The actual difference between perfume and cologne isn't about gender at all. It's about concentration. Specifically, the concentration of essential oils, or the smelly stuff, dissolved in alcohol and water. Perfume is like that one friend who takes 2 sips of coffee and is awake for 3 days. It's intense, long-lasting, and doesn't mess around. Cologne, on the other hand, is more like flavored, sparkling water. Refreshing, light, but you'll forget about it after a couple hours. So the next time someone tells you cologne is for men and perfume is for women, you can politely correct them. Or if you prefer chaos, spray them in the face and yell, EDP means eau de parfum, you heathen. Okay, let's break down the actual hierarchy of smelly potions, because this is where it gets fun and slightly bougie. Parfum, or extrait de parfum. This is the heavyweight champion. Around 20 to 40% essential oils. You put this on, and it's basically tattooed into your skin for the whole day. It's also the most expensive, because apparently liquid gold doesn't come cheap. Eau de parfum, EDP. Usually 15 to 20% oils. Strong, long-lasting, but not quite I'm still here tomorrow strong. Think of it as serious relationship energy. Eau de toilette, EDT. Around 5 to 15%. This is the one most people wear casually. It lasts a few hours, then slowly drifts away like your motivation on a Monday. Eau de Cologne, EDC. Usually 2 to 5%. Very light, very fresh. Perfect if you just want to smell good for brunch, but not for the whole workday. Body spray. Let's not even go there. If you've ever been inside a high school locker room, you already know. So, technically, cologne is just one specific strength of fragrance. But thanks to clever marketing in the 20th century, cologne became shorthand for dude stuff, and perfume became ladies stuff. Which is hilarious, because the actual chemistry couldn't care less about gender. Molecules don't know if you're wearing skinny jeans or cargo shorts. Perfume has been around for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians, for example, were basically walking essential oil diffusers. They slathered themselves in fragrant oils, not just to smell nice, but also as part of rituals. Perfume was a whole vibe, sacred, luxurious, and sometimes used to butter up the gods. Cologne, on the other hand, has a very specific origin. It comes from Cologne, Germany, in the early 1700s. A guy named Johann Maria Farina invented a light, citrusy fragrance and called it Eau de Cologne. People loved it because it was refreshing and didn't cling to you all day like a needy ex. It became popular with European aristocrats, and soon everyone wanted a bottle. So, fun fact, the reason we call lighter fragrances cologne today is literally because of geography. Imagine if your deodorant was called Eau de Cleveland or Spritz of Milwaukee. Doesn't hit quite the same, does it? If the science is clear and the history is clear, then why do people still mix it up? Blame advertising. Back in the 20th century, fragrance companies realized they could sell more products if they split them into his and hers. Perfume ads went all in on glamour, slow-motion hair flips, diamonds, and whispers in French. Cologne ads, meanwhile, leaned into masculinity, sports cars, leather jackets, and men gazing intensely into the distance like they just remembered they left the oven on. Over time, people just assumed perfume was for women and cologne was for men. Even today, most guys wouldn't walk into a store and say, "I'd like to buy some perfume, please." They'd rather wrestle a bear than utter that sentence. But in reality, if a man buys an eau de parfum, he's technically buying perfume. So, the next time you're shopping, ignore the labels. If you want something strong and long-lasting, grab a parfum or EDP. If you want something lighter, go for an EDT or cologne. The bottles don't care who you are. They just want you to smell less like "I forgot to shower" and more like "I at least tried." It's not men versus women or fancy versus casual. It's all about concentration. Perfume is stronger, longer lasting, and usually pricier. Cologne is lighter, fresher, and fades faster. The rest? Just decades of marketing making us all believe smelling good has agenda. In the end, wear what you like. If a bottle of perfume makes you feel like a movie star, go for it. If a spritz of cologne makes you feel like you just stepped out of a European cafe, that's your vibe. The point is, the difference is chemical, not cultural. And now you know why next time someone smugly tells you that's men's cologne, not perfume, you can hit them with the truth. And maybe a little spritz for good measure. If this video made you aware of the truth about perfumes and colognes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe you can try spraying both and see if you like it. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.